Hello, beautiful people. My name's Jonna, aka Side of Valley Studios. It's just me. I am the studio. I'm just here because I figured at this point I should probably start a YouTube channel. Do I know what I'm doing? No. But does that matter? Nah.
It is what it is.
I'm working on this little top. Here's the thing that pissed me off. It's supposed to be ribbing up until the two breast cups, but I up on the first one because I had actually finished both of them. I just literally just frogged everything out.
Yeah, you can see like this whole mess of like ramen noodles. Of everything I had to frog.
I was supposed to do a half double crochet ribbing for the both breast plates. And on this first one, I kept on with the single crochet ribbing. But on the second one, I did the half double crochet because the second one I did like weeks after I did the first one. And then I realized these look different. Why do they look different? And I realized, oh, damn. I didn't switch it up the first time.
Why?
Now I have to redo the first one and also remeasure all the stitch markers. So I'm not having a great time.
Like, you know I'm not happy. You know I tried.
Actually, funny thing about this red yarn, I got this yarn on accident because I was supposed to get a different color with this dress I had been making. One of the first big projects I tried to do was like this dress for Valentine's Day. I don't know why I keep thinking I can make these humongous projects in like a day because I think I might have like started it 2 days before Valentine's Day. I was like, oh, I should make a dress.
Are you dumb?
I've only really been crocheting for about 3 years. Oh, no, definitely less than that. Technically, I crocheted like a little bit during the pandemic. Fast forward, I graduated from grad school about a year ago. Did a couple of things, like I started taking online courses, got back into polymer clay, jewelry making. So you can see like in my shop, I make jewelry as well as crochet. The crochet kind of came from this desire to make things with my hands. I wanted to challenge myself to take my time with something. And I also knew that I was kind of low on funds.
Insufficient funds.
So I wasn't going to just be buying a whole bunch of new clothes and stuff like that. In New York, it's a lot warmer than where I used to live in LA. I can like actually wear like yarn pieces that I make and stuff. And so I wanted to get back into it. That's kind of how we got here and started my business. So I guess I can get into a couple lessons that I learned in making my small business. When it comes down to talking about your work, advertising myself, and talking about the things that I like doing, that's not something I've always been great at. This idea of making a YouTube channel, it's definitely a challenge for me because I have to overcome this, I guess it's a fear of being perceived, not really wanting to bother folks. That's been my biggest obstacle when it comes down to starting a business. Number one lesson that I've definitely learned is that you are your biggest advocate and you have to be your biggest advocate. No one else really knows your business like you, and no one really knows your talents and your capabilities like you. And if you are not your number one cheerleader, you're gonna have a bit of a hard time, especially when it comes down to like the marketing side of things. I've gotten better with social media. It's weird because like when I was an undergrad, I posted a lot, partially because I didn't have a lot of time, but also like I was kind of going through a lot. I wasn't in like the headspace to have my life out there because I had such a big transition. I moved from New York back to LA and then back to now I'm back in New York. LA was a time, even though I am extraordinarily grateful for it, and I think I've learned so much about myself. It left behind some complicated feelings and also complicated experiences. I got robbed like literally 2 days after I got there.
You what?
And they took everything.
They took everything.
But we're not gonna really get into that. I had to really get used to putting myself out there again. Ever since opening my business, I've had to get more comfortable being on camera again. And it's actually been pretty cool. Cause like in film school, that's what I went to grad school for. I was on camera in like an acting sense. I was in like people's exercises. I would do like the acting for their shows. Sometimes I would act in my own things. Being on camera in that sense as a character didn't feel weird, but being on camera as me definitely started to feel weird. And I don't know why that happened exactly. I think that just like one of those transitional periods of just kind of finding yourself in your early to mid 20s kind of makes things a little different. Live and learn. So I can say one of the biggest lessons is that I have to be my own advocate. It's a little vulnerable, but it can also be really fun. I've been able to reconnect with this sillier, much more social side of me. I'm an introvert. I like being in the crib. When it came down to reacclimating myself to like the new life that I was having, I think that's another part of this business that has been both a lesson and also like a challenge to overcome. We'll have to be social whether you like it or not. I want to make more friends in that creative space. Is really just connecting with like-minded people, connecting with folks within the crochet community or the clay arts community. I watch a lot of crochet with me and a lot of vlogs, and it's actually really fun because I've noticed that the girlies who I be watching expressing similar things of just like when you spend a lot of time doing things like this, like that are like slow fashion crochet, you spend so much time like in your head and by yourself. I feel like there's a piece that comes with that, but then there's also the side of it where it's like socializing probably good. So So one thing I've learned is that socializing is a part of the craft of owning a business. So that's been a challenge. It's gonna take way longer than you think. For me as a person, I generally have this, it has to happen now, it has to be fast, it has to be like immediate, everything has to be immediate. It motivates me to do things in a timely fashion. But I've also found that I put a lot of pressure on myself. I am very prone to burnout ever since I was little, honestly. Kind of growing out of that, not only like pressure, but also just kind of like allowing myself the grace to be a beginner and to not take myself so seriously. 5 months into learning how to crochet, I was really frustrated because I felt like, oh, like I'm crocheting all the time, but I feel like I'm not making enough and I'm not fast enough. My ideas weren't fully coming to fruition. And it was really truly because I was a beginner. But I had to take a break. I literally had to take a week break. Like I play video games. Did I go outside? I should have went outside. I'm supposed to go outside at least 20 minutes according to my doctor. I'm working on it. Yeah, but I was definitely burnt out. I was overworking myself in a way that was unnecessary, but I felt a lot of pressure. Like a drip, drip, drip that'll never stop. I needed to make money. I needed to get the followers and be able to do things fast. And it wasn't gonna happen fast. I think that everything I felt like had to be good. And if it wasn't good, I just kind of gave up on it. So like the idea of like this top going as wrong as it did, I think there was a period of time, especially when I first started like this crochet journey, that I would have just been like, okay. Well, now I'm just kind of feeling like I can make the mistakes and I can learn and grow and start over. It's okay to start over. Starting over is not failure. Only failure is really quitting. You don't always realize how many moving parts go into like shipping. And I know it seems like a no-brainer. It's not like you're just putting things in an envelope and like just shipping it out. I had to kind of figure out what exactly wanted that to look like and how that wanted that to fit my aesthetic. At first, I just had bubble mailers, but that was when I was just doing like, the jewelry stuff. It was cute. Like it wasn't like anything like it was cute, but it didn't have that same pizzazz that I wanted it to. You could definitely see like the difference between like my first orders versus like my more recent orders. I got these poly mailers. That has helped significantly in making sure that everything fits. I made this a huge scrunchie for my first order, but I couldn't fit in the bubble mailer. Packaging is something that you definitely have to think about. Organizing is the most important thing. I'm a generally disorganized person, not dysfunctionally. I know where everything goes. Why the fuck you lying? So like in terms of actually figuring out how to like execute things, like I don't out even with this video, I'm just kind of just chatting. But things like my play projects, drawing out ideas before actually starting to make them allows you to really get an idea of all you're gonna need. Because I have a really bad habit of starting a project and then realizing, oh damn, I need this material, and like it goes on hold until I get the material. Let me show you this project I'm working on. I had 2 skeins of this yarn, and for the past like month, because the Knicks were in the final, it was like literally unprecedented. It's literal history. I kind of got focused on my next collection. I didn't really get to do some of the other projects I wanted to do. So I picked these 2 like ombre skeins of yarn, this purple, pink, and blue, obviously for a Pride month. And I was like, oh yeah, I can make a skirt. The problem with that is I'm a big body gal. And this skirt don't cover my body.
That's rough, buddy.
I need to get some more of the skeins of yarn. But that kind of goes to the other lesson. Set your expectations for how much material you're actually going to need for the projects that you make. Some things on the back. This one doesn't have it. The back of the big twist. This was the yarn I used. It was the Big Twist Unicorn Magic. And on the back of it, it has how many skeins you'll need for a blanket, how many skeins you'll need for a sweater, how many skeins you need for a hat, bonnet, or scarf. I took the on the back for granted, especially because I didn't really know how to do a lot of things. So I was kind of winging it. In hindsight, and maybe instead of like 2 skeins of yarn, I probably needed about like 6. I might end up having to get an additional 4.
Not with human money. We in the red, baby.
The more you do this, the more you crochet, the more you get an understanding for how much yarn you actually need for a project. Pattern writing. Even if you're not planning on selling your pattern, I think it's really important to write everything down. I had a bad habit of forgetting which hook I use, especially for things that you're going to make over and over again. I have these granny square halter tops. I ended up using a smaller hook than I was recommended for the granny square because I didn't want the gaps to be so big. Oh, let me use a smaller joint so that at least it covers some more. When I first started, my favorite one to use was this big old size 6 hook because I was like, oh, it works up things quicker, and I like using the big hook because it feels aerodynamic. And I think at the time this was my biggest hook. It wasn't until I started making blankets that I got a bigger one. I got this size. I was like, this is the biggest hook I had at the time, and I started off with my biggest hook, which it had its pros and cons. This was like the first types of yarn that I used. I don't know what brand this is. It literally was just off of Amazon. The cotton and acrylic blend, I think is the equivalent of like a milk cotton yarn. I don't know. Originally, I thought this was weight 4 yarn. When I looked it up on Amazon, it said weight 4, and I'm like, this is not a weight 4 yarn, especially when you look compared to this.
Hell no, man. What the
I'm still learning that part, like the differences. It's really soft, which I like, but when I use the big hook with it, it would like sometimes split the thing. And so I probably should have started out with a smaller hook. I do like that yarn for this little ducky I'm working on. Isn't he so cute? Her name Darnell. This is actually the first pattern I tried to write. No, sorry. This is Mallory, the mallard duck. This is Darnell, the regular duck. Darnell got a dirty little face. This is the first article I really made with my own pattern and stuff, which is kind of why it has derpy little face. So this is the first one. This is the second one. I like the second one more because I like the face is a lot cuter. But I love the derpy little face. I want to make these again, and I want to write and sell that pattern at some point. I want to do more amigurumi, especially like little dolls. I want to try to design my own plushies. I have these characters that I was gonna make into clay keychains, like little what's it called? Like like the Pop Mart joint Labubu, but it's not a Labubu. I didn't get into that trend called the Saturn Valley Stars, because Saturn Valley Studios, these are the Saturn Valley Stars. But it's 4 characters. They're kind of like brats. They have their own personalities, their own fashion, their own vibe. And I wanted each of them to represent their personalities. So with the brats doll, I've always resonated with Sasha and Chloe. Sasha, obviously, she like Chloe, she was like the sporty girl. It was like, oh, like have characters that people can relate to. I think that'd be really fun. I've always had an obsession with dolls. And so I've always wanted to make my own doll. And that's something I want to do, but that's way down the line. Another lesson, and this is like for people who have like a lot of ideas, but like it's almost like overwhelming the amount of ideas that you have. It's important to get every idea out there, even if you're not intending on finishing every idea, if that makes sense. For me, I definitely was somebody who struggles with motivation. I was dealing with depression, anxiety, especially after graduating. Like the transition was hard. I had to really learn to work with my brain. My brain has a tendency to want to just like create everything. It has constant ideas. It's a constant flow of ideas. And what I used to do, I would like almost ignore it. It's like, this is how I focus. I need to lock in by not doing anything else. Problem with that is that when it actually comes time to do those ideas that I wanted to do, either I forgot about them or I'm so tired from doing the last thing that I just did that I can't think straight,
I know you're holding back because
it is okay to take a pause from what you're doing and then jot down your idea or set yourself up so that you can work on your idea later. Oftentimes it'd be like, oh, like I have to stay focused. Yes, focus, but when you're doing something where you're literally your own boss and you're literally the master of your fate, you can set the rules with how you want to allow your brain to work. I've had to learn this how to work with my brain instead of trying to force my brain to work. I was usually work, to conform to school and 9 to 5s and things of that nature. I've had to learn to hack my brain.
message.
I got really intimidated by opening a shop because listings need so many information. I can't just put up pictures and just be like, hey, buy this. It's like, no, you have to like actually have like a description and take product photos and have tags to make it SEO, was a search engine something. What that stand for? That was some things I definitely had to get used to. But the best teacher is to just do it. And I still have a lot of anxieties around starting things without like knowing if I'm ready, because I've had failed business ventures before. I had to open a printful shop. I tried to do fashion brand. Then I tried to just kind of sell my art like commissions, but that got tiring really quick, honestly. Like I would freelance a lot in college. It's really easy to get overwhelmed, and also it's easy to get kind of underpaid. I did not know how to value my work, and I still don't, to be honest. But sometimes you just got to do it so that you can make the mistakes early and that you can try something early. I can definitely see my growth in that way in setting up my square. So there was actually a situation where my next collection I had made these do-rags and scrunchies, and my sister had ordered a scrunchie and she told me that she wanted to order a do-rag, but she, being herself, she had ordered one thing. She then figured out she wanted to order another thing, but we tried to figure out if we could add it to her order, but it wouldn't let us, or if it does, I don't know how to do it. So she had to order it again, and I was like, well, I don't want to charge you shipping twice if it's going to the same place and I haven't sent out the first package yet. So let me just send you the do-rag, and then we'll figure out how to pay for the do-rag so that it goes through with the shipment, but it like it still like counts with the Etsy store like as a sale. So basically I figured out that you can sell in person through Etsy with the Square app. I kind of had to like real quick figure out how to set it up. And I actually got this little, get a little toy. I love it. It's not a toy, it's like a little card swiper thing. Like, oh, it feels so official. This is official business. And I could tap to pay and collect cash and stuff, so that's cool. But because of that like little thing that had happened, I had to dive into a whole new platform and then learn that as quickly as possible so that we can get that done before the shipment had to go through, and it worked out really fine. And because of that, I was actually able to make 2 additional sales in person. Had a couple friends order some things in person and stuff, which was really dope. It was cool learning how to be resourceful in that way, and sometimes just doing it, and you're knowing that you're gonna make a mistake, but being okay pivoting has been a really, really helpful tip.
That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
In the future, I'm going to plan out my collections better. The next collection, I learned a lot from like that because I made a lot of like things that I really enjoyed. But because it was such like a short notice situation, I didn't really get to market it. And if I had had an audience prior to doing that, it would have been a lot more profitable. I want it to kind of almost like act like a template for how I'm going to move in the future in terms of like the things that I make, but like the size of what I can output. I would do more marketing one ahead of time, especially on social media. I spent a lot of time making things before I actually was selling them, which if I did in-person markets, which I do eventually want to do, because I think that would have been a lot different. Like I have all this inventory and I can just like move it back. But now it's just kind of sitting in my room and I don't have space for that. I would definitely plan out my collection a little bit more, have a certain amount of items that I want to make, and then also like a budget, especially if I'm doing like a pre-launch situation. Sometimes factoring material and expenses isn't something that I've always thought about, because knowing what you're getting yourself into, and that also helps you figure out how much you're charging.
Because somebody has to pay for all this.
Some of the things that I'm hoping to do for this channel, I really hope, one, that I can share my small business journey, my crochet journey, and my clay journey with you guys, and find fellow creators. I'm hoping to figure out more ways to be creative. I've seen a lot of folks doing crochet vlogs or small business vlogs and stuff, and I know that for me, I find a lot of comfort in those, especially because like I don't really be knowing what I'm doing half the time, and it's nice to see other people give their experiences because I can kind of figure out how to make my own path. And so I want to do more of that. I think this is like also a nice little therapeutic Yap session to kind of get some of it, because my brain just like I'll be out here just counting and then thinking and then counting and then thinking, and it's like I should probably like verbalize these things, right? Yeah. If you have any suggestions for different like themes that you want to see more of, I also want to do a little series about wardrobe pieces for plus size girls. One of the biggest things that no one talks about. Oh, some people talk about it. I've heard some of the girls talk about it, where it's like you see so many tutorials for girls with like no chest, or like, smaller butts. And so like when it came down to making that skirt, I'm thinking, oh, it's gonna be good. And I'm like, oh damn, this is a lot of yarn.
How am I supposed to deal with this?
I made this crop tank, but I didn't realize it was gonna take so long because I have so much chest, and because I have so much chest to cover, it's like, damn, you need a lot of stitches. So I don't even know how this top is gonna look. Gonna be too much tata out and stuff. It should be fine, I think. Oh. That's it for today. Hopefully you'll see me some more. I'm hoping to be consistent. I don't hold myself to anything. I should, but I don't. Follow me at Saturn Valley Studios on TikTok and Instagram. I have Facebook. If you still use Facebook, yeah, you can follow me on Facebook. Subscribe to my YouTube if you want to keep up with me, be a part of this little community. Is that it? Yeah. Peace.